Alright everyone, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine. I'm going to give you guys the preview and picks here for the 3M Open. Now a lot of you guys might already know this, but some of you guys don't. I went to the college in Minnesota, so this is kind of a tournament that I like a little bit more. I went to it 2 years ago and it's first time coming out there. Just kind of recapping it. It was a lot of fun to sit on. There's one hole where I could see a par 5 and a par 4, and I got to see my main build. Kind of lucky with the tee times, but I got to see my main build like 3 of the 6 or maybe even 4 of the 6. I forget who was exactly, but it was like Tringale, Sanjay M, Scott Piercy, like go out and make like eagle and birdie or birdie and birdie. It was a lot. It was a very fun experience, and it wasn't very crowded or anything. It was kind of one of those funny events where I remember walking the course and seeing no one follow Scott Piercy, and he was in like 3rd place at the time. But there's a massive crowd for like Brooks Koepka, who finished like 65th on the week. It was one of those funny things where you can just tell like fans were there to, I guess, see the big end players rather than watch good golf. It's always kind of one of those funny things to me, but it's a fun tournament. It's going to be one in which you have to score on, which we'll get into here, but it's a fun tournament. I'm looking forward to this, and it is very soft pricing. Like, it's very easy to make a good build, so I would imagine the scores are going to be a lot higher for DraftKings this week because, well, it's kind of casually loaded field. It's one of the best fields that we've seen during this Midwest swing, so we'll get into that, but first, let's get into that review of the Open. Or the Open Championship. We already established that, guys. So just kind of looking over first, I want to thank you guys for all the support last week. All 3 of my videos got up to 1K views. It was pretty awesome. Got a lot of subscribers. Do appreciate that. And I hope that you guys got rewarded. You know, the Core Plays video last week did pretty well for you guys, except for Patrick Cantlay and Charlie Hoffman, who actually kind of, I don't want to say they destroyed my week, but if you guys ended up on Patrick Cantlay, Charlie Hoffman, or Patrick Reed, you probably had a bad week in your main build. But in GPP wise, there's lots of room to really go low. A lot of the players in the 95 player pool finished top 8. 23% of the player pool finished top 8. It was pretty crazy, especially just looking at the model. It continues to be very predictive. Colin Morikawa top 12 in the model, and if you're just looking at it from after round 1, the 9-5 model is highly predictive, guys. After round 1, he was a top 5, most likely to win. You could have bet him 16-1, and you would have cashed on that. You could have bet Jordan Spieth right off the get-go because I thought he was personally the best play on the board. He ended up finishing 2nd. So, you know, you could have cashed out early on that, which brings up a crazy point. And this has been a crazy season. Every season kind of has its own little story to tell. Like, 2.5 years ago when I first started, the story was that I had a winner in my player pool like 19 straight weeks in a row, which was freaking awesome. But the player pool was like 40 at the time. You know, I was just starting out. Last year, or 2 years ago now, it was more or less cashing a shit ton in cash contests. It was like 85% of the tournaments. And if you just focus on like full tournament field events, it was over 90%. It was an insanely good run. Well, this year's run has been the fact that 9-5's betting card has hit the winner or 2nd place finisher in over 50% of the tournaments this year. It's absolutely crazy. That just goes back to the fact that the model is highly predictive. But the hard part about PGA DFS is that you have to get the right lineup combinations, and that's kind of been the frustrating part, especially last week or the week before. There's either been withdrawals or guys that should be safe plays missing the cut, and it's always been mix or match. Like if Cantlay, Hoffman, or Reed make the cut, one of them, it's a huge week. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And what about Will Zalatoris withdrawing? I know I mentioned that in passing, but kind of crazy how many withdrawals have occurred on tour this year from quality picks. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you guys. Nothing you can really do about it. But 72% of the player pool made the cut. 34% of the player pool finished top 15 or better. So there's easily the lineup path to go out and have a successful week. Louis Oosthuizen, John Rahm, Jordan, Paul Casey, Brooks, you know, those are all guys that are rated top 10 in the model as well. Colin Morikawa, top 12 in the model. And actually, he was the top rated player in the 9-5 model. That's with 2 kind of asterisks. One is the fact that I think it was like Guido was popping up, but that's because he had a small sample size coming in. Didn't have any course history or anything to go off of. So, you know, it's kind of asterisk there. But let's get into the tournament preview here for the 3M Open. So I already mentioned that this is going to be a lower scoring event, but we've only seen this tournament twice now, okay? It is going to be bent grass greens, which, oh well, whatever. Just looking at the 2 winners, though, very different players. Michael Thompson 19 under par. Matthew Wolff, 21 under par. Average win score, 20 under par. That tells us that it is going to be a scoring weekend, guys. I'm excited for that. It's been a while since we've had like a true scoring week. The average cut line is going to be under par. You know, when it is like that, it typically is a little bit harder to predict. You know, the variance is a lot higher on those lower scoring events. But this was a strange week in which the key stats, now it is a limited sample size, there is no like key stat metric except for scoring. It is just scoring. That's the players that have done well. Really, anyone can play well at this course. There's not one stat that will tell you who's better or not. But it's the fact that you just got to score. You got to take advantage of the par fives. You have to have a good birdie or better percentage. Strokes gained approach a little bit, strokes gained to the green a little bit, but it's all about scoring and putting yourself in good spots to score. So we're going to be looking at those scoring stats a lot, which also will add to the variance a little bit. But just looking at the players that are good stat fits, it kind of makes sense. DJ, Usti, Finau, Sergio popping up there. That kind of tells you the quality of the field. But Keegan, Tringale, Gim, and Lebioda. And then looking at course history. So for course history, I was looking at players that have had at least 2 starts. So they had a start here in the last 2 years. Tony Finau would be popping up there. Matthew Wolff, Cameron Tringale, just some names. Patrick Kazire, Dylan Fratelli. Those are all guys that had 2 starts here and also made the cut. Charles Howell and Hank Lebioda rounding that out. Then we're just looking at recent form rank. No surprise there with Louis Oosthuizen, but Lebioda really popping up. He's a guy that I really like. Bobby McIntyre, Robert McIntyre, that guy. He was in my best finishing GPP lineup, one of the few ones that got 6 for 6. Thought I had a chance to take down a GPP. Ended up finishing, top 100, top 0.1%. Just couldn't close it out. Johnny V, and then DJ, and then Stanley popping up there for recent form rank. Kyle Stanley has been a cup maker. But now, guys, let's get into the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get into the picks. So just going over, I am going to be doing a new thing here. I'm going to be showing you guys a new tool. So I am going to be still doing the top 4 picks in each price point range, but we got this new revamped tool, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, guys, but we can go a little bit more in depth. So we got the player information sheet. This one's pretty easy. You can just type in Minnesota ties. There's not that many. There's like freaking Eric Van Rooyen, and that's pretty much it for Minnesota ties directly. So what you could do is you could include Iowa if you wanted to, like Midwest players. Iowa, there we go. You could choose Wisconsin. You could choose Illinois as well. You could do all of that. And I did that with Wisconsin on purpose for you guys. But you can just click on this and you're good to go. You can pull up all those people that have ties to kind of the Midwest if you want to do that. That's just one of the tools that I'm excited to show you guys here in this video. We also had the player profile here. Okay, this is going to be a fun tool that we're going to get into this video and in the core plays video. So it's a fun tool. I got an Amshank defaulted to pull up here, but we'll start off with Dustin Johnson. So Dustin Johnson here, to me, he is one of the top picks on the board, and he should be. Let's just zoom in out slightly there. All right, there we go. So one thing that I like about this tool is that you can sort it by date. So I'm going to be looking at the last 2 months of tournaments. We can see DJ hasn't played that much, okay, but he has done decently well. Missed the cut at the PGA Championship, Travelers top 25 finish, US Open top 20 finish, and then Palmetto Championship. Once we get the data for the Open Championship, that'll be factored in here as well. But we can see just how he's been doing. This is going to be like a snapshot of how he's averaged in that time span. If you want to move it out, there's going to be more tournaments added, and then this is going to change as well. It's one of those things that I'm really looking forward to you guys, for you guys to be able to use. I think it's going to be a fun tool to use, and it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. All right, now let's get into the normal stuff here. All right, so we're going to be breaking down that high tier price point range once again. Just going to be going over the top 4 picks in each price point tier. Now, I will say DJ, I don't mind as a pick. It was pretty funny last year with his like tin cup moment where he just kept pulling balls out of his bag, trying to get right is pretty much what was happening. He shot like an 88, I think is what it was, because he hit 4 shots into the water or something. Just kind of funny there. I actually don't mind him. I think he should play well. Obviously, he's the top price player on the site. And then Louis Oosthuizen in the best recent form out of anyone in the field. I don't mind him as a pick. The thing is this week is that you can afford to pay up for one of those 3 guys, maybe even 2 of them, because the low tier price point range, that 8K to 7K price point range, is very soft. It's priced very soft. There's a lot of quality picks in there. So, I really don't mind the option of like paying up for one of those 3. And I do want to mention that those 3 are the only 3 this week that have an 80% chance or more of making the cut, 80% chance or more likelihood to make the cut. So kind of crazy there. And then one other thing I do want to mention is that the H1 and H2 stat, that's going to be the course history that we have for the 3M Open. Because we don't have more than 2 years course history, I'm actually going to look at the Barbasol and the John Deere Classic for H3 and H4 course history. I kind of like to have 4. That's just what I do here. 2 years, obviously, we're going to be looking mostly focusing on the H1 and H2, but I do feel like the Barbasol and John Deere Classic are going to be good comp courses for you guys to look at. But just looking at 20 Finau as a whole, really good staff at top 5 in the field. I mean, all the stats that we're looking at this week are solid. T40 or better in all of them. We like to see that. Had a top 20 finish at the Open Championship, so I'm not too worried about his recent form. That's whatever to me. So Tony Finau, going to be a quality pick. I don't know if you have to pay up for him. But you definitely can get away with it with the pricing this week. The next player I'm going to bring up is actually going to be Matthew Wolff. So Matthew Wolff has went out and played very well at this course in the past. This is kind of his course, I guess, if you will, a 12th and a first place finish. He's a guy, he's very hit or miss, okay? Never going to really pop too much staff-wise, but kind of interesting here. So let's look at it. Birdie or better percentage, 34th. Par 5 scoring, top 50, and then strokes gained approach, 34th. I'm not too worried about these two stats because, we know that he's been very hit or miss as a whole. Not too worried about that with Matthew Wolff. Let's see if we just go back further. Let's just see here. Obviously, we have to go back further than that. Let's look at career-wise, pretty much. So career-wise, he's just been hit or miss his whole career, guys. When it's right for him, and when it's not, it's not. That's just kind of the story of Matthew Wolff. 9.7 is a lot to pay up for him, and you're definitely paying up for the potential for him to go on and win. That's why I see him mostly as a GPP only play, but I do think he's going to be worth the risk. Maybe throw him in about 10% of your builds this week. Then another player that I'm kind of surprised I'm landing on is actually going to be Cameron Tringale. And let's put this filter back to 5, 11, 21, just because I want to look at the last 2 months of data really for that. So let's just look at it. Cameron Tringale has made 2 straight cuts in a row, 73% chance to make the cut. I really don't mind Cameron Tringale as a play at 9.5. The only problem with him as a pick is I'm kind of worried about him at this price point. He is coming off of a top 30 finish at the Open Championship. We did like to see that. Top 3 staff in the field as well. Kind of like I said with Tony Finau, really all the stats are good. Top 50 or better in all the key stats that we're looking at. Top 10 in the model, 2 straight made cuts in a row. Good course history, 3rd and a 42nd place finish. I already mentioned I watched him at this tournament. It was kind of fun to see him kind of grind it out. He's a player that 9.5 is a lot to pay off for him, but I don't think many people are going to want to do that. He could be a nice low-owned player for you this week. And then rounding it out, Emiliano Grillo, very hit or miss type of player. We've seen that with him throughout this whole season, okay? Really not shocking that he went out and had a top 12 finish last week at the Open Championship. Prior to that, 3 straight missed cuts. That's kind of the nature of the beast with Emiliano Grillo. Either he's going to be hidden or he's not. Look at the stats as well. 12th in strokes gained approach, top 30 in birdie or better percentage. He makes a bunch of bogeys. The fortunate thing about this course is that we really don't have to worry about bogeys all too much, so I'm not too worried about him all too much. 3rd place finish here last year, top 5 rated play in the model. That does speak volumes to the type of field that we have, although I do think once we get a little bit lower, there's just so many quality players lower down. So now we're going to go down into that mid-tier price point range. Now we only have 3 players I'm going to highlight. That's just kind of the week that we have. Once again, I like that mid-tier price point range a little bit more. So Keegan Bradley is a top 5 staff in the field. His only bad stat is going to be that 125 and in, but he is top 6 in strokes gained to the green this season. Pretty solid overall, kind of losing strokes putting. We come to expect that with him. Strokes getting around the green as well, kind of losing strokes there. Pretty good everywhere else. Par 5 scoring top 20 in that. Birdie or better percentage could be a little bit better. But just looking at course history, 46th place finish here. I'm fine with that as a pick. I just feel like we can find this same play lower down. Sure, if you want to throw him in like 7% of your GPP builds, that's fine. And that's going to be kind of the same thing with Patton Kizzire, who, Patton Kizzire's been playing a lot better recently. He's made the cut in his last 2 starts now. We do like that with Patton Kizzire. 11th place finish in the top 25 finish. That is great. 71% chance to make the cut. We look at his course history of 46th and a 43rd place finish. He also is coming off of that 11th place finish at the Barbasol Championship. Top 15 staff fit overall. If he had just made one more cut, he technically would be checking all the boxes this week. top 10 play in the model at 8.6. I'm fine with it, but once again, I just want to echo this. There's some quality plays a little bit lower down. And I think that kind of starts with Maverick McNeely. Casually been playing pretty well there with Maverick McNeely. 8.4 for him. That's a decent price tag, I guess, for him. 4 straight make cuts in a row. And that's what we want to talk about here, guys. 18th, 21st, 30th, and 20th place finish. Average finish of 22 over the last 2 months. We like that. He's been gaining strokes. We like to see that as well. Overall, not going to be the best stat fit, but top 30 in the field, that's still pretty good. 66% chance to make the cut. Top 10 in the 9-5 model this week. 8.4 is a lot to pay up for him, but I do think that this week you're going to have to play someone. You're going to have to pay up for someone. I think he's going to be a quality pay up play this week. And now, because I only gave you 3 players in that mid tier, we're going to give you 5 players in this low tier, so buckle up. All right. We're going to go into Doug Ghim here, guys. Doug Ghim, not a horrible pick. 18th, 32nd, and 54th place finish for his recent starts. Obviously, we like to see that from Doug Ghim. He had a top 18th place finish at that John Deere Classic, 18th place finish here last year, top 6 staff in the field. The worry with him is going to be his par 5 scoring 102nd in that, but top 15 in strokes gained approach. We like to see that. Top 25 in strokes gained tee to green overall. That's good. Really, he's been losing strokes with his putter. This is a tournament in which I won't say putting's, players can make putts here. Let's just put it that way. So it's not going to be too challenging with the putter. I don't mind him. If you want to go with the ties narrative, he was born in Illinois. Midwest narrative there, I guess, if you want. 7.9 for a top 6 pick in the model. I don't mind that. I view him more of a GPP play, but if you guys have to play him in cash, you do. And then just kind of the clearly mispriced play on the slate. I don't get it. It's going to be Hank Lebioda. It's kind of just a head scratcher as a whole. I don't really get it. 6 straight make cuts in a row, and look at them. 8th, 4th, 5th. 3 straight top 10 finishes, 31st, 17th place finish. Average finish at 13th. He's been gaining 2 strokes on the field total in that 2-month stretch. Just absolutely playing well. And also, he's played well at this tournament before, 26th and a 34th place finish. Obviously, he's very comfortable at this tournament. He's just been hitting the ball well as well. Ranks first in that 125 or less yardage range. Top 40 in par 5 scoring. It's just, I know we've seen it time and time again with this price point range where DraftKings really just hangs someone out there. Maybe they're doing this to change the slate. I don't really know, but this play here this season has either missed the cut or they finished top 10. There really has not been an in-between when it's a clearly mispriced player this week. So I guess that'd be a little bit of the worry, but 68% chance to make the cut at this price point is pretty darn good. I'll take that from Hank Lebioda. And I'll just tell you right now, guys, it's going to be a core play in the next video that you guys will see about 2 hours after this video gets posted. And then just pulling up Johnny V. So 7 straight make cuts in a row. Did miss the cut at this tournament last year. That's the worry there. But 11th, 57th, 2nd, 69th, and 9th place finish recently. Obviously, he's shown that upside to go out and really play well. I don't mind him as a pick. Really, where he struggled, we can see it. It's with his putter. So if he has a decent week with his putter, he's going to play fine. No real worries with him staff-wise. Top 20 staff at top 20 playing the model. 7.5 is really just cheap for a guy that's in good recent form and has shown that top 10 upside. I didn't really get that. And then kind of just another player, really a head scratcher to me, was Adam Schenk. Now, once again, we got to get that Barbasol and also the U.S. Open data added in underneath here, but top 15 place finish at the Barbasol Championship, 4th before that, 41st place finish prior to that. Adam Schenk, I really just think is going to be a quality pick here now. He missed one cut in 2019 and then made the cut last year, 41st place finish. Overall top 20 staff in the field, 19th best pick in the model as well. Just seems like a great pick for a guy that's, he's going to be right around a made cut, or he's going to make the cut and probably finish top 20. To me, that's something I can't pass up, and I do like Adam Schenk a decent amount this week. And then we're going to look at Kyle Stanley. Oh, I bet you guys saw that coming. 7 straight made cuts in a row for Kyle Stanley, but on him a decent amount this year. Just been making cuts 7 straight in a row. We like that. 32nd place finish here last year. Overall, not the best effort, only top 31 in the field, but we can see strokes gained approach has been there, and then strokes gained tee to green has been there as well, 37th in that. So really just needs to take advantage of the opportunities that he's been given. This is a tournament in which it's pretty easy to take advantage of those scoring opportunities, so I don't mind him as a pick, especially at 7.3. That is a quality price point for a guy that should make the cut, and obviously if it gives you a little bit more than a make cut, you like that. You like that a lot. All right, and now we're going to get into a couple of the value picks. Now, just want to keep echoing it. That low tier price point range is loaded. Okay, you don't have to dip this low if you don't want to. Roger Sloan finished 31st at the Barbasol. Not bad there. Made cut and miscut here with a top 15 place finish in 2019 at TPC Twin Cities. Overall top 12 staff in the field. There are some other stats I'm looking at. Effective scoring, that 9 to 5 only stat is really popping up there. You could pull them up there on the player cheat sheet if you wanted to specifically look at that. But top 12 staff at top 21 the model, 3 straight made cuts in a row. I don't mind him as a pick. Roger Sloan, 6.9 if we're trying to find a value pick. Not bad. I do think he can pose top 25 upside as well. And then we're going to dip down into some players that are not as sexy. Bryce Garnett, I'm mostly looking at the fact that we play Bryce Garnett on courses in which he's comfortable. He's obviously comfortable at this tournament, 26th and 23rd place finish. 48% chance to make the cut. We don't like that, but given the fact that he has played well at this tournament before, those are typically the ones that he plays well at. And then Kevin Tway. Kevin Tway, if I had to pick one value pick, it would be Kevin Tway. 4 straight made cuts in a row on tour, but the last time I trusted him, I forget, it was that group event. I forget what it was. The only group event on tour, the Zurich Classic. He played really well one day and then real shit the other day. So kind of on my shit list right now, but I don't mind him as a pick as a whole. 6.6 for a guy that's, in strong recent form. I don't mind that. We can chase that 3 straight T26 or better finishes. I'm good with that. Gaining strokes on the field. We love to see that. Strokes gained approach could be a little bit better. We look at the key stats, top 50 in par 5 scoring. So we can hang our hat on that. And then pretty good in that short wedge range as well. Curious, quick question though, 125 and in what club are you guys pulling? Because for me, that's in between a 52 and a 56. Really depends on how I'm hitting it. I'm kind of curious, do we have any pigeon wedges or 9 irons in there? Or do we have a 60? Do we have a bomber out there? Do you have a Bryson out there? Only if the club face is good, I guess, with that. But let's get into the last value pick, and then we'll wrap it up. The last value pick's ugly. I don't want to mention it, but for the sake of video purposes, we'll pull him up. Jason Duffner, 2 straight made cuts at this tournament. That's really all I could find from him. I don't mind it as a pick, just don't love it. 2 straight made cuts in a row on tour. Barbasol 26th place finish, and then 18th place finish there for Jason Duffner. I'm perfectly fine with that, I guess. If you guys want to go with that, you can. Overall, once again, just dwelling it at home or nailing it home. That 8K to 7K price run range is really where you want to make your builds this week. Then you just got to get lucky with the player that you're paying up for. But that is all I have for you guys for this video. Once again, if you enjoyed it, please give me a like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation and use all these cool tools here, link is in the description below. $10 a month for the best value in PGA DFS. That's all I have for you guys. Going to have the core plays video out a little bit later tonight, and then the fades, sleepers, and values video will be out Tuesday morning. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave that thumbs up. And as always, let's keep cashing.